What's up, my friends? I seem to start a lot of videos off with a sigh lately. I wanted to talk to all the young men out there. November is considered to be Men's Health Month. And for those unaware, which I was unaware until this morning, um, Men's Health Month is also known as, oh, well, facial hair November, whatever the hell you want to call it, mustache November, where men are encouraged to grow out your facial hair for the month, as if spending a couple weeks with some stubble on your face makes you more of a man. But more of that, it's to encourage people to acknowledge that and be aware that men have issues too. So this is one for the guys. But ladies, I do encourage you to listen in, especially if you want to understand guys better. And I'm going to start off with maybe kind of a crude statement, and I don't mean to offend anyone, but if I do, then tough shit, as I always say. I think that there are far too many simps, stans, and wooks out there. Now, I'm going to go through all three of these and define what I mean by this, but this isn't meant to be a berating of men. This is meant to say, where are all the men? When I look at myself and I look at my life, in fact, it's November, in 10 days, I'll be 47. I wasn't sure if it was 47 or 48, and that's funny, when you get older, you start to lose track. I'll be 47, oh, thank God. And, I look back on my life, I look back on the shit I went through in my own personal, suffering, my own personal, depressive episodes, severe anxiety, all the problems that I had, trying to understand people, trying to understand myself, having my dad pass away as a teenager, and having him be really the only rock that I had, the only tether I had to show me what it was to be a man. And my dad died when I was 15, and I basically just said, I don't need idols. I don't need heroes. I don't need anybody to tell me what it means to be a man. I got to figure this shit out on my own. So years passed, decades passed, and here I am at 47 trying to be the best man I can. I have 3 boys. I have 2 young boys and one teenager, one in their late 20s, and one who's just turned 10. And let's just say the spread and the difference in age groups is very interesting, but I have to teach each one of them how to be a young man, how to function in this world as a man. And I know that there are some people out there who are already either typing away or thinking about typing away, saying, well, what is a man exactly? I'll tell you what a man is. A man is a human being that has a penis that can handle their shit. And when I say handle your shit, I don't mean that you have to be wealthy. And that comes to the simps. The simps are the ones who, well, perhaps maybe simps isn't the proper definition here. As I mentioned in the beginning, we've got the simps. But it has changed definition. In the 80s, when I was a kid, simps meant simpleton. A simp today has completely changed definitions. So I'm only pointing that out to let people know that from people in Gen X, when we heard simps in the last 10 years, we thought, oh, well, yeah, simpletons, dumbasses. But it's specifically oriented towards those who will do anything for a woman. The guys out there who think that they just have to get laid, that they have to meet these women, and that if they get turned down, it's the end of the world. And they start these men's rights groups and these movements, which some men have a legitimate gripe. Men who have been robbed of their children from horrible mothers who, just because they're a mother, get the rights to the kids. This has happened, and this does happen. We have to acknowledge that there has been some advantage to being a mother when going into custody battles. It's always been this way, and it's changing now. But there are plenty of shitty dads and plenty of shitty moms out there. But the simps are the ones who seem to think that if they don't have a relationship, if they can't get girls, then, it's the end of the world. And the thing is, if you're in your 40s and you're one of these guys, maybe I can start to understand it. But if you're in your teenage years or your 20s and you're complaining about not getting women, grow the fuck up. Change your attitude. Learn how to fucking talk to people and be an adult about it. Don't go complain online because you've got problems with girls. That's just not the solution. So the next part, and believe me, I'm going to get to the point here because there are some positives here. I believe that we need to encourage each other to have better mental health, better understanding. We have, an entire segment of young men who idolize people like Elon Musk. Elon Musk is probably one of the biggest douchebags I've ever, in my opinion, that I've ever seen in my life. And these people really think that just because he has money and daddy was rich and he has daddy issues, that somehow qualifies him to, be a good human being that cares about them. And these are the stands. When I said Simps, stands, and Wooks, the stands are the ones who basically beg and grovel and will do anything to defend people like that, especially those who they think are cool. And this is very common in the music industry. That's originally, in case you're unaware, the term stan was originally derived from the Eminem song Stan, which was about a fan who wrote him and just wouldn't shut the fuck up, and it basically became creepy at some point. Now there are musicians out there who have, posted and written about this before and said, look, I'm an adult here. I don't care about these gripes between who's my biggest fan or, trying to meet up with strangers when you're an artist that's traveling the country and you have these guys that expect you to like listen to what they have to say. And I've encountered this in smaller form on the internet I've had emails from people where if I don't respond within a day, they're like, why haven't you responded to me? Oh, what are you too good? You post YouTube videos, but you can't answer me. And I'm like, dude, I answer my email maybe once every 2 weeks. I'm not that guy. I don't give a shit. I don't read tweets. I don't pay attention to all of social media and what's going on. I'm the kind of guy who disables the reply updates, who disables all of my notifications on my phone. My phone doesn't beep. My phone doesn't ding during the day. I don't get notifications because I don't give a shit. It's not that I don't care about people. It's that I don't care about the controversy. And that's a big issue with today's young men. They get caught up in internet drama and bullshit. And believe me, I know women, young girls are having the same problem, okay? But this is, and it's even worse with a lot of young girls. And I talked about this in a video a couple of years ago about Instagram. And it's a popular video. It's one of my most popular videos. It's called Instagram are like ego influencers or ego whores and influencers, something like that. And it actually gets through the algorithm and people actually watch it, even though it says whores in the title. And I think it's because it's important. It's probably because YouTube allows it because it talks shit about Instagram, competition and all. But the point of the video isn't to say don't use Instagram. At the time, I'd never used Instagram. Somebody once told me, hey, Instagram's okay as long as you only use it for your business, and that's it. So I started an Instagram account. I have one for me to just upload pictures, which I rarely use, and then I have one for Carpo's Custom Guitars, because I wanted to start building guitars, and I needed a place to share it. Perfect. But I don't have the app on my phone. I don't click on it. I don't go in there all the time. When I have something to post, I post. But I don't need updates and scrolling, and I think that scrolling is one of the biggest issues. And yes, this still has to do with men's health, because the internet is the number one fucking problem that we have for young men's health right now. People are addicted to everything, addicted to drugs, addicted to, ego, addicted to fame. Everybody wants to be a YouTuber, but more than that, most people are addicted to their screens. When I drop my son off at school, he's 13. Everybody has their nose in their phone. Is it any different when I go to the grocery store or the theme park or anywhere else it may be? No, everybody's buried and scrolling through bullshit feeds on Instagram or Facebook or something else. And people might say, well, no, not everybody's doing. No, but a majority of people really are just wasting time. They are passing time on their phones. And I do it too. We all do it. And it's a problem. And it is probably one of the biggest issues with mental health that we have right now. The Wooks, as I talked about the Simps in the stands, the Wooks, that's only something people in concert culture would understand, but I used it to define a certain type of young man. The Wooks are the ones where if you go to a Fish concert or a Dead concert or any jam band type concert, there are always these guys who I heard defined well. They said, you know, fully enlightened but incapable of caring for themselves, right? Or people who care more about their head space than their actual space. Like basically the kind of people who put on this front as if that they have it all figured out. That no, I understand what's good about life. I understand what it means to be a human. Yet they can't rub two nickels together to help themselves out. They've got everybody else always bailing them out. They might even be the kind of people who make, a whole bunch of money and then just waste it and can't deal with their shit. They can't hang on to things. They can't just be a functioning member of society. That's not always a bad thing. Don't get me wrong. There are tour rats as well, different types of people who go on tour and they make a lot of money. That's different. If you make the money, if you can function, if you can survive, if you're a hustler, you can make that lifestyle work. But a lot of young men really just have this kind of holier than thou spiritual attitude. And it's really funny to me because you see this a lot at various, festivals and concerts that and to make this very clear, I'm not just talking about young men, even though I've used that term a lot. I'm talking about men. But even if you're an older man that acts like a young man, then you're still a young man. Like some people just never grow up. Some people never figure out how to function. And it's not about how much money you have. It's not about how many followers you have on Instagram. It's not about, how famous you are or how good you are at something. It's about whether you're doing the best for yourself and taking care of yourself. And we all know when we're not. We all want to make little steps to better our lives. And often we kind of live in this illusion that things are a certain way. And for men, that's easy to get carried away with. Men are not very down to earth when it comes to planning, whether it be financial or otherwise. And generally, even when we are, we're kind of egotistical about it and invest in things like Bitcoin and end up crashing our own personal economy. No offense to the crypto bros out there, but there's a whole subsect of young men who are really hyper into not just Bitcoin, but several different types of crypto. And it was about, just a few days ago that FTX crashed hard. One of the youngest billionaire in history, supposedly worth $36 billion, lost his whole fortune in a weekend and ends up owing everything. That little glimpse of the bigger picture is funny to me. Just like a guy like Elon Musk, like I said, the richest man in the world, who buys ego or buys Twitter out of ego, and it crashes to the ground, and now he wants to get people to pay for it to get a blue check mark. Like the most out of touch people with reality. And meanwhile, a lot of people are just trudging on, just doing their normal thing, not expecting to get rich overnight in crypto, not expecting to have everybody like them just because they want to be liked, not trying to buy respect from anyone, not expecting women to like them just because they're a man and that they're entitled, not that they're red-pilled or any of that bullshit. Being a real man means You are a man by yourself, standing out in the fucking cold with nothing on. And I mean that. Not that you're able to like get in with some bros that agree with you or call your posse or your gang, but no, who are you by yourself? And I think every young man, every old man, every boy should ask himself this. How would I fare if I was thrown out on the street, my house burned down, and all I had were a pair of underwear? If that, right? I guess I got to have the underwear in there because a lot of guys don't have schlongs that they can be proud of. But, who are you really when you're stripped down? You take off your Adidas and your fancy clothes and your shoes and take away your entitlements and your wealth. Take away all the music you listen to that you think you can associate with by wearing a certain shirt. Who are you as a person? And if you were to just go up in plain clothes and just talk to a stranger, how well do you fare? And I think that that should be the measure for all men to aspire to. How well can you integrate into your society? Because integrating is ultimately the root of the word integrity. And there's no other way to see it. I feel like if I ramble on any further, I'm just going to waste your time. So to all the young men out there, chin up, toughen up. It's Mental Health Month. Take shit by the reins. Make it happen, whatever it might be, whatever your goal may be. Don't rely on other people's hype and bullshit to prop you up or feel part of some other group. Make your own group. Know who you are. Thanks for listening.